Why is it giving me a problem?
Should we just call it a night?
Yeah, that's fine.
See, you don't throw that option out there when you're talking to people who've been recording Crystal Skull for the last 3 years.
Right, we're going to jump on that.
Has it been 3? I thought it was 5.
It
I
might
have
be 5.
no idea.
Could be right.
Yeah, it could be any of those things.
So I'm already wondering what amongst this banter will end up at the end of my episode.
Oh.
The clever, wah-wah. Probably just that.
We're usually
just
more
hit
clever at the
record
beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Does it come in more in the beginning or I don't know, you guys.
I think it's good if you put the political stuff at the beginning. Tom,
That'll win
and
over
really-
the hearts and minds of our
That'll be
listeners.
really
yeah,
good.
that'd be perfect.
It'd be
Yeah.
great.
Give her a warm, fuzzy feeling.
Get all kinds of new fans.
Yeah. Oh, that's who they really are. Okay. All right.
Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones, Indiana. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones, Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute. This is the podcast where we discuss the film Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, one screamed name at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I don't even have anything this time. I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm getting chased by a swamp thing, and I think I've been singing it all week. It's an earworm. I'm Gerald Christopher Porter. Yes.
You sure are.
And he's,
And-
of course, referencing Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan,
Yeah, exactly.
with the earworm.
He put creatures in our bodies to control our minds. Here with us to enjoy these earworms and to plant new ones in all of our ears is our old friend Brett Stillo.
Hey!
Welcome, Brett.
That's me. Hi.
That is you.
I'm Karina Long.
You,
friend
Brett, have
of-
been with us from
yeah.
the beginning. You joined us. I think you taught us that the flying wing was a real thing.
Yeah. The Great Flying Wing
Or
episode.
somewhere
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I still get
coined
emails.
Otto von Bluto.
Yeah. Well, that was. I mean,
Yeah,
then
Otto
that
von
was
Bluto.
also the end, and the fracas and the ruckus. That was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How many T-shirts did we sell?
I will look that up later.
Because I ain't seen a dime. But aside from
Oh,
that,
yeah. Wait a minute.
yeah. What was that line? Your breath is not as strong as my breath, or whatever that was.
Something breath.
And I'm hoping, can you believe that was 5 years ago? And I can't think of anything.
Was that all?
Yeah, it was about 5 years ago or longer. And yeah, I can't think of anything
Man.
I've consistently done over 5 years other than appear on an Indiana Jones fan podcast.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I think that works for all of us.
But
Wow.
with that, maybe could we actually just go back to that minute and talk about that
Sure.
instead
Yeah,
of
I don't know what minute it was. I don't know the number, but yeah,
This
here
minute?
comes the German. He's all excited to beat up a little scrawny American. It's going to be great.
the British guy with the German accent? But yes, no, thank you for having me on the show to discuss this minute in this rather enjoyable motion picture.
Sure.
I'll
You
come
say
right
enjoyable.
on.
That's we don't hear that all the time.
You're coming
There
out
you go.
swinging. I like it.
Yeah. I'm
What a
not
weirdo.
afraid to say it. This little feller has its problems. It's a problem child, but it's a nice movie.
It just means it needs more of our love.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
And
You're
a
kind of
Ghost
you're
Rider.
kind of like Otto von Bluto, Pat Roach yourself here.
Am I?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you haven't seen me since
looking
beating
for
you
a
in the head
fight,
so bad that
having
you're starting
fun.
to think
Yeah, good natured. Looking
Rung
to-
your bell so
Yeah,
bad.
wow,
you're
yeah.
starting to like this movie.
Well, you haven't seen me since I shaved my head and grew my walrus mustache. So
Oh, yeah.
I've been working on my flying wing in the garage. But
That's your finishing move, the flying wing.
so, Tom, what happens in this minute?
I'm so glad you asked, Brett. This
Yeah.
is minute 96, and this is the one that begins with Indy and the gang getting chased out of the temple by the Ooga to the tunes of Yummy, 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 I Got Love in My Tummy. And it ends with the gang getting away thanks to Oxley stunning the attackers with the skull.
We're just literally in Mexico for reals now.
Okay, yeah. I had a
like-
question for you.
I have to admit ignorance. I don't. It looks like pretty trees and lush things, and it's somewhere.
The
south
temple
of
is
Texas.
definitely a Mesoamerican temple.
Well,
That is
so
not
could
Peruvian.
it could be maybe like it looks a little Tikal-ish. Is that right?
It does. It could be
Yeah.
Tikal. It could be, but those all had, like, they didn't have a doorway at the top, like right at the top of the stairs like that either. Like that's a modern.
Well,
so
how
maybe
your
that's-
heroes are
true.
supposed to escape.
Yeah,
when they're
exactly.
being chased by the bad guy.
Well, they did. Actually, the one in I've been to a couple of those, and there's one called I think it's Koba, in kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's like one of the tallest ones, and where like Quintana Roo, kind of where the state the state of in Mexico, sort of where Cancun is, and in Chichen Itza. And you're right, they had, from what I remember, there's like a sort of like a temple inside enclosure, I guess, at the top.
Mhm.
And then you know what this reminds me a little bit of is like Apocalypse Now.
It is kind of like Apocalypse Now. Yeah.
Yeah, where there's and there's the opening at the beginning. But I remember the one in Chichen Itza. It's like that's where they would throw the sacrificed virgins down the.
Well, yeah, because it
don't-
always had the stone at the top where you would
Yeah.
sacrifice the person. at
And then
the
I think
top of the
would you
stairs.
roll them down the stairs?
Yeah.
Wasn't that the
Yeah.
joy of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
all along while the Archies are playing, and I think it's terrible.
But you'd rip out their heart and then put that on the stone, and then
Okay.
Right.
you'd kick them down the stairs.
That dulls the pain as they're going down the stairs.
There's
Right.
there's something I think going on here, because Plate of Shrimp, I just out of the blue watched Apocalypse Now last night. And
Oh,
wow.
really?
yeah, and like
It's on Netflix. I saw it's on Netflix now.
Yeah. I ended up just kind of it's Apocalypse Now redo, and I forgot about Mr. Harrison Ford's creepy glasses in that movie. He's so
yeah.
wonderfully like Bernard Getz, or like serial killer creepy, and but yeah, it just comes to mind. Martin Sheen in the hotel room, and like just saying. The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I'm still in the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That's how I wake up every morning.
I needed a movie to pay for my sins. This wasn't the one.
What I think so, Pete. What you're saying is this isn't South American, or really, I guess Peruvian, or wherever. More long. It's more of a Mesoamerican.
Everything,
or
yeah,
Maya.
everything from the steps to the thing at the top to the like those
Yeah.
whatever the patterns that they're using on the sides. But then at the
So-
bottom, it has like what looked like Greek or Egyptian columns.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
that.
A
Yeah,
little
it's like-
garden of columns. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a forum thing. Okay, so real quick, has this place that we're seeing, has this gone undiscovered for the last 4,000 years?
See, you're using the language of colonialism, so I'm going to say no,
Yeah, Jerry.
because there are people that are here right now.
Right. So undiscovered. Okay, so if that's true and they've lived there for
Get back
4,000 years, why haven't they renovated their busted down
Oh.
forum?
Jerry.
Like, can't anybody do a little bit of sort of what is it? Topiary? I mean,
That's
they
actually
have
a
to have
really
the
good
entire.
question.
Yeah.
Like if this
so
is like an active
No, because
place
this
where
is
people
an
live.
yes. If this is an
No, because
active
in-
place, then
in
why is it
Europe-
overgrown? Or are they really like a lush
So-
verdant?
A European would never let their place go to seed like that.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
amongst European royalty, they would often have a whimsy on their estate, which would be a modern recreation of an ancient ruined temple, which would remind them of their mortality.
Oh,
So
wow.
like if you go to a lot of
Really?
European castles or old estates, they will have like a ruined temple that has been created when they built the castle. So it looks like it's ancient, but it's not.
So these guys have a beautiful gold palace like right over
Yeah.
the hill, but this is just
Mhm.
their kind of they're
Something that's
hearkening to the
completely
past.
it's completely
like
modern.
what do they call that? A memento mori, or it's something to remind them that they're all mortal.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Good
we
for
just
them.
Everything comes to an end. Everything-
we've all stumbled upon their whimsy garden.
Yes.
Yeah. Indiana Jones and the Whimsy Garden.
That's why there's no chalk mole at the top of the temple steps. There's like the altar. It's all a whimsy garden.
Wow.
Yeah.
This takes on a whole new flavor now.
I have a question for you, Brett, our guest.
Yes. I am
Is
your
it
guest.
again? And I could ask this at every single infernal minute of this movie. Is it 7 a.m. or is it 4:30 p.m.?
Oh.
Because every single outdoor scene, with the exception of one or two that are at night in upstate New York, it's either 7 a.m. or 4:30 p.m.
I'm gonna
Like
say
period.
it's-
Like there's no other time in the movie. This entire story is a lovely little vignette that takes about 15 minutes.
yeah.
Or it's one of those like Jericho things where the sun stood still for like a month.
Yeah. Filmed on location in the Republic of CGI.
Yeah.
And it's kind of got this. Yeah. Now that you mention it, there's this. There's this color in the sky that's sort of like a Windows 94 or Windows 95. In minute 96, it looks like a Windows 95 screensaver. And it's funny because you guys are talking about the location. I got to admit, this is 1 minute in one episode that I'm guesting on that I did no research, no homework on. So I guess I just shrugged and said, looks like Hawaii. Left it at
But they
that.
had a nice time shooting
And
in
Yeah. It
just
probably
left
is. I think they filmed a lot of this.
Is it Hawaii? Okay, but it just it just looks like a Brad screenshot. Do you guys know him?
Oh yeah,
Brad
How's he doing?
screensaver. But I'd say sort of artificial paper cheese afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I would like to. I mean, there's the shot right after the beginning of this minute that it's just like the big, huge, wide shot. You see the temple that they're coming out of. You see the little column garden in the middle, and then you see like this other big temple that they're probably heading to. And every time I see it, I'm like, thank you, movie. I kind of appreciate that. It's been a long time since I've had any kind of like geography that I can latch onto. Like, I get when I see that place later, I will know that they ran from there to there. Like I can see like the course of the movie for the next minute or so. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Oh, this would make a great new pickup line.
Oh,
Yeah. Are you like Crystal Skull? Because you make every minute like magic hour.
oh my God.
Wow.
Peter Mummers.
Whoa.
I know you're
Go on.
swooning.
Real,
You're all swooning.
real
believe I'm getting the
Lothario over
vapors.
there. Yeah, this is-
Hey, speaking of
Wow.
Lotharios, Brett, I've got another question for you.
Of course, please.
So if you're chasing somebody and your weapon of choice happens to be a spear,
Mhm.
are you personally, are you like a type A personality and you're just going to go straight for them and you're going to run after them and you're going to throw the spear, or are you going to stop every maybe 3 or 4 steps and kind of jump up and down and wave your spear and then start running again and let them get a little farther away and then stop and jump up and down and wave your spear a little bit and then run a little more?
I'm gonna
It does seem to
do.
work for them.
I'm gonna do what I always do, and that's just whatever the AD asks me to do. Because I have been in the situation where I've said, wouldn't it make more sense if I just kept running? And then like an AD says, no, we don't want you to run. We don't want to hear your suggestions.
Wouldn't
Don't
it make more
say
sense
anything.
if I looked at the camera and waved to my mom?
Yeah, no, don't do that.
But that's kind of what these
I
guys are
hate
doing. Like they stop and they do like a little dance to show off with their spear.
Yeah.
Well, now, Pete, a quick question. It seems that there may be 2 types of oogas here, much like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Sneetches, right?
Yeah.
There's the ones that seem to have a they're sort of sporting the natural look, right? And then there's the other
It's like there's
that-
the flesh colored guys and there's the blue guys.
Yeah, they seem to be
Yeah.
like sort of maybe covered in mud or something. Like they're
Mhm.
Yeah.
some sort of. So
I mean,
what's the
clay.
difference?
Yeah.
Is there
Are
hierarchy
one of
here
them are like the
that's-
blue guys, the Bola guys, and the natural
Oh.
guys, the spear guys, or vice versa, or are they
I,
interchangeable?
the blue guys are science,
Thank you, Brett. Yeah. Blue guys are science.
and
The,
that's
kinda-
not tan. That's sort of a greenish gold command mud.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom, you know all
Well,
Some of them are
okay, so
helmsmen,
do
some
you
of them are
think
navigation.
as they
Yeah.
all age, do you think that they start to realize the ones that have the sort of earth and clay, their skin is much more beautiful? Like they
Oh.
don't
Wouldn't
get they
know.
don't
How
get
would
the
you know?
wrinkles.
I might just
No.
say they don't have wrinkles. No, I'm
Yeah.
not going to take it off. But if I did, it would be supple and smooth as a baby's bottom. You wouldn't
That's
believe it.
true.
I'm not going to take it off for you.
It could be something from L'Oreal.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
They
people
probably-
in the States would pay for this treatment.
Are they supposed to be primitive, or are they supposed to be like the enlightened ones?
Okay.
Like, if they're in direct communication with the aliens, are they like? Is this one of those like Twilight Zone things where Indiana Jones is the real primitive?
Hmm. Or I
Hmm.
mean, are they getting back to like the kind of rundown nature of the place? Since we find later that the aliens are kind of dormant or dead or something. One of them doesn't have a head, for crying out loud. So are they? Is there a society kind of stagnant and weird and dying without them or something?
And
Like maybe there's not much
if
going
that's
on.
the case, then we go back to this idea that they couldn't build anything without the aliens. They didn't understand how water works without the aliens.
I
And
hate all of this.
I'm just saying.
No, I
could
mean, it's
just
what
be
the
the-
movie gives us. I just
what-
hate
is
all
that
of
what
this.
the
But maybe
movie
they're
gives
just
us,
sad. Maybe they learned stuff from the aliens trip, and now they're just sad they missed
It's like,
the
are they
aliens. They
the
were nice.
as you said, they're the enlightened ones, Pete, or are they the primitive ones? Are they, which one? It's like which is it? I don't know.
Mm.
I don't. I mean, the
They're the ones
aliens
chasing the
did
good
come
guys.
to them, right? I mean, can't
Mhm.
we choose a he chose me? E.T.
So
Sure.
these are the Elliots.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
the
it's a
Elliots. They're
nation
the
of
Elliots.
Elliots.
These are
He chose
Elliot,
me.
Indiana. Like Mac is Keys, and Spalco is the government.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
a tale
And
as old as
India's penis breath.
time.
I do have a question, a serious one.
Sure you do.
So at the end here, well, we'll walk through it. Okay, Tommy,
Mhm.
you said there's a whole bunch of name calling. Jonesy.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
it
then
starts
it's-
with, I have to say this, I'm going to invoke the sad bell. We got a Marion yelling Indy, and it's very, very weak. And it makes me wish he hadn't attempted it, because it's not the Indy that we know from like Raiders and stuff.
Yeah.
Makes me a little
So-
sad.
So what do we get? We get what is it? An Indy, a Jonesy, an Oxley.
And a Con! I think there's like an Adrian
Yeah.
and like Canada.
Is the Oxley
And,
is Indy mocking
Porterhouse. Sorry, I'll stop.
Is Indy mocking Mac, or is this just supposed to be like a funny juxtaposition, like Mac yells Jonesy and Indy yells Oxley?
It's extremely awkward to the point where it has to
Yeah.
be intended as a joke, and it just doesn't work.
Well, it's okay.
Like,
It's one
Indy
of those.
laying there yelling Oxley, like he's like right next to Oxley, and he's not
And he's,
yelling
like,
it in a way like
writhing
Oxley,
on
I
the
need to get
ground
your
the same way
attention.
Mac was.
It's like
Yeah.
he's making fun of Mac. He's just
Yeah.
directly making fun of him.
Well, okay. So what Indy asks Oxley is, you were here before. How did you get past this? And so then Ox takes out the skull,
Oh
and
yeah.
he sort of brings it over, and we have a little bit of a Jovitos moment. Let
But
it
do we
come
know
to
that
the
it's
Tusa.
But do we
You
know
know.
that it's the skull and not the flashlight?
Yeah, Mac's got a flashlight.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. What is it when the Ooga see the skull and all of a sudden they kind of back off a little bit like the ants did?
I hate it. It dehumanizes them. It's just like the ants. It's just they are the same as the ants. They're like
Well, okay,
mindless.
but wait. If the aliens are their, you can call them their gods, their leaders, their inspiration, whatever, anything. They'll recognize the skull and have a kind of reaction to it that would be a
Sure.
little different than just like mindless ants. I don't know. What did we say about the brainwave affecting them or something? They're getting like their heads
Well,
microwaved or something.
But then
okay,
how
so
come like
hang
it
it.
affects these nice people? Like it affects these nice people that are all standing around, but it doesn't affect Indy or Mutt or Spalko or anybody else.
See, I don't think it's like affecting them. I don't think it's doing anything to them. I think they just recognize it and like, oh my gosh, that's an
So
important
they're like
thing. We're not going
Ewoks
to mess
seeing
with these people.
C-3PO. They're like, oh, this is.
No, Ewoks are way cooler. I think Ewoks show a lot of, I don't know, independent thinking, and they're
Well, so are they like, hey, we haven't seen this for 4,000 years, or for whatever 500 years, we haven't seen this, or like, oh, I've only heard about these, read about these on cave paintings, the skull. Or are they like, wait a minute, we have one of those in our basement, and
we
the
have
head is
12 of
missing.
those already. This is this might be the one we're missing.
And this is the one we're missing.
That'll complete the set.
Yeah, it's Eddie.
It's Eddie.
Like, what are they reacting to there?
And isn't this also, several hundred episodes back when you guys were like pulling your hair out? Well, how did Oxley get the skull? And then he brought it back. That there was this whole who's on first thing with this script that needs a lot of help. The script needed help.
Yeah.
It's a sad
I was just trying to go through that in my head.
And it's
I was
that whole
hesitating to bring it
up. Yeah. I mean, because that's part of the problem is, I mean, seeing this minute, this should be an outtake. There's something about this minute that we don't need this. We absolutely everything. It's everything kind of shot wide, and the camera kind of goes back and forth. Did you guys do this in like one take in 30 minutes? There's something very abrupt, and this is an Indiana Jones movie where there's supposed to be danger and tension and a sort of it's like, hey, we're gonna throw our bolos at you, and one by one you're gonna get knocked down, and
but then you just get up again.
And we mentioned that last minute that there's no like there doesn't feel like there's any real danger at any point in this.
Yeah, for a second, watching this for the first time in a while, I when they first started falling, I'm like, oh my god, they're getting shot with arrows. That's horrible. What's going to happen to Marion? And I'm like, I don't know. They tripped. They got hit with a bullet. Okay.
Well, not only that, but like Mutt, I don't know what he does. He like unravels the mace lasso looking thing like very easily. I don't know what he does. He like pulls it off his neck or something.
He's a mechanic.
This weapon sucks.
The magnetism seems to be turned off too on the skull because it's not affecting Oxley's or Mac's flashlight.
All right. He's got a firm grip on it. He's good.
I'm
just thinking though, like I don't think these like we're wondering who these people are and why they're chasing our heroes and stuff and what their deal is. And then I'm like, the saddest thing of all is like I think after this minute we never ever ever see them again. I think they've been in the movie for about 2 minutes and they're about to leave. Yes. Like they don't do anything.
It's the legend of the 2 minute.
They're just there to chase our heroes for a little bit.
Yeah, the prophecy was fulfilled.
Wow. Well, that's very much like the Guardians of Oriana's tomb.
Yeah, they just pop out to provide some action.
They go, boo!
Yeah. Do a cartwheel and then they're gone.
It's just like a video game. It's like you have to pass obstacles and they'll pop up and then they're gone.
It is so like a video game. This is one of the arch enemy of the movie and the script is the video game with its. This is such a, you must pass this, you must do this to pass this level. Almost feels like we've been here before. It's like, well, I held up the skull and we still got killed. No. You have to hand it to Oxley. Oxley has to hold up the skull. Then you can proceed. This also, in a weird way, has it something clicked in my brain. This is like anticlimactic bad Dungeons and Dragons.
Wait a minute, Dungeon. I always climax with Dungeons and Dragons.
Well,
That's why it's
that's
called an
a first.
anticlimax.
That's that great
You're not-
artwork in the
you're
Monster
not-
Manual, of course. But
no one else is climaxing with Dungeons and
yeah,
Dragons.
really.
well,
I want to touch a water weird.
but yeah, yeah. There's something just bad D&D about there is a monster guarding this portal. Well, I have a protection ring that banishes the monster. Okay, then go on. That's it.
Yeah.
That's okay. Well, I mean, again, we don't need this scene. It can go out. I was imagining, well, just to pick on him. This was George. Let's blame George. He's like, well, we have to show that Oxley's been here before, and that's my bad George Lucas impersonation, by the way. You
that's
see, we have to establish that Oxley is returning the skull, and he's seen the skull. I was like, can we just shoot this?
But okay, you know what's so weird is that if once again we have does Oxley know what to do without Indiana Jones? It's like he's sitting there, he's falling. Would he have gotten speared if Indy had not said, Oxley, what did you do the last time you were here? And he's got this vacant stare, and then he's kind of like, oh, yes. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. Is the skull speaking to him and helping him? Is he in communion with the skull?
Yeah.
And he's the dude? Or does he just fall on the grass and fart and get speared?
What's
actually,
the point of being cyclically linked with this
Yes.
magical thing if you still just need Indiana Jones to tell you what to do?
Well, no,
Yes.
maybe you don't. Like maybe Oxley is in communication with the skull, but the skull only needs Oxley. The skull doesn't care about Indy or everybody else. So Oxley's not going to rescue them because the skull's not telling him to. It's just when Indy's like, "Hey, can you do something?" Then he's like, "Oh yeah, I guess I should help these guys."
Well, so, okay, who does Oxley listen to more, the skull or Indy? Because we don't hear what the skull is saying to Oxley.
There are times when he does stuff on his own that is clearly like a skull thing, like
Yeah.
driving the ants away and stuff.
Right.
And when he sort of blurts out his dumb stuff about waterfalls and things, his T.S. Eliot and stuff. But that's, I don't know. That's all kind of like...
Well, there
I
could
don't
be an
know.
entire movie
tired.
that's just it's like a romantic comedy with like the skull and Oxley and what's going on between them.
Yeah.
This
They're having this
entire time.
interior, relationship while he's like trying to keep Indy at bay the whole time. I think I'm in the middle of an adventure or something, but I'm really enjoying this nice conversation I'm having with you, Skull.
I kind of taken a different point of view of this is, and one problem I have with this part of the movie is you have this gang of people kind of, stumbling around, and you forget that Indiana Jones is even there. It's almost like, they have Indy say, "Hey, Oxley, how'd you do this before?" Just to remind people, oh yeah, Indiana Jones is here.
Yeah, he's in this movie.
It's like, when they, when the duck goes over the waterfall and it's like, he's in the back seat, or, it's just like, oh yeah.
That's a weird look. Yeah.
One thing about this minute,
it is, and he has, I mean, we keep saying this, but he has talked to the skull. He connected with the skull. He knows enough that the skull needs to go back to Akator. And you don't need Oxley really anymore. I don't know if you ever did. What the hell is Oxley doing in this movie, by the way? Honest to God. Like, what purpose has he served so far?
Watching this minute, I realized something that's a problem with the series. And that's the more people around Indiana Jones, the more boring it gets. You have a movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark. For the most part, he's solo. And when he's not solo, then maybe he has Marion or Sala with him, but that's it. He is a rogue. Then you have a movie called Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and he has two buddies who kind of supply comic relief. Yeah, one of them's a kid, a cute kid, and we've talked about those two people, and we've kind of gone up, and it's, so there's two people in that one. Last Crusade, you've got Indy with three people. And one, and that's all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, it's Salah's being goofy. Marcus, I don't even want to talk about. And, there's his father, and it's like, okay, there's when they're riding off, and that's kind of, and here you just there's way too many people.
Yeah, see a pattern forming here.
Yeah, this like, so, in Indy 5, it might be the Brady Bunch. I don't know. But I'm hoping that's when you're reading now about the people who are in the movie, who are going to be in this movie, pray they aren't all in the same scene together. I'm like, hey, we got to get out of here. And,
I agree.
Yeah. Maybe this,
what do you think?
Maybe that's a way, like Harrison Ford getting older, they can just have a bunch of people in front of a stuntman with a hat. And, boy,
let's go ask Indy what he thinks.
Yeah, let's go this way. Thanks, Indy. But it's just so many people that we don't need in here. And I also have this theory that, like, Ray Winstone had this, that whole Jonesy was improvised for some reason. Like, hey, what if I let out a big yell here? It's just like,
and then Spielberg loved it. He said, "Okay, first, but Marion, you do Indy first, and then Indy after that. You do Oxley, and it'll be great. And Con, you do Adrian."
Yeah.
Well, Brett, I've got a question for you.
I will consider answering it. Yes.
Before we recorded, you may change your mind. Before we recorded, you said something that almost no one has ever said when they've recorded this with us. You said you really like this movie.
I do. Yeah, I like this one.
And I'm curious. You said that this scene in
but this scene,
much, but you really like the movie, and I'm curious what it is. Explain yourself.
Well,
I enjoyed the movie too, but it's nice to hear someone. It's refreshing. Like someone that really enjoys the movie, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, where do I start? Well, for one thing, any Indiana Jones movie is better than no Indiana Jones movie. So yeah, we can. This movie has its problems. There are moments where I cringe, but there are it's a big movie, and a big movie like this has its moments. I think Harrison Ford does a lot to give it a sense of, what's the word I'm thinking of? He's playing this older guy, and he's trying to convey that he's not. I think he's not trying to act like a younger actor or a younger character. I'll be honest. Growing up in the 70s, I was a complete Chariots of the Gods nerd. So I still sort of love all the, ancient alien kind of stuff, even though I do like it from a safe distance.
I mean, like, especially like as a kid in the 70s, like In Search of, or like, these shows were like, this was a staple.
Yeah. It has its moments, and heck, it's Indy. So yeah, I like the son of a bitch. I like him.
That's a lovely answer. I like that. That's a great. That's a good answer.
It is. I mean, like I said, would you rather have no Indiana Jones movies ever again?
Well, see, Tom's gonna say yes.
Yeah.
So
we already had 3. So it's not like they're gonna take those away to make Crystal Skull. So
and Jerry's the one that said he would take away all Star Wars movies except for Star Wars. So I don't.
Well, I said I would have been fine had the entire series ended with Star Wars.
Yeah.
What's made sense.
Yeah. What's funny? Something that just like clicked in my brain the other day was something from my youth, and that was, there's only one Sherlock Holmes, and that was Basil Rathbone, and no one else can play Sherlock Holmes like Basil. So why even try? And so I don't know. There's been like 20 or 30 guys since then who've been done a good job of playing Sherlock. But I remember when I was a kid, and like the thought of someone else playing Sherlock Holmes is ridiculous. And Cumberbatch, huh? Not bad, among
Yeah.
others. So yeah, I mean, I
I mean,
get it.
we've talked about this. I think when it comes to, I can only think of one scenario where coming up with your hero, the main hero protagonist, paid off, or at least was on par with, it was equal with, and that's
Mad Max Fury Road.
well, no, I was gonna say that's great, but
Whoa.
I was gonna say when you have
Oh,
Bon
that's gonna be the
Scott,
answer.
you have Bon Scott in AC/DC, and then you have Brian Johnson in AC/DC.
Mm.
Yeah.
Like right after, like, Bon Scott's untimely death, then the next album you put out is Back in Black.
And you're like, this before you put it on, you're like, this is not going to work. Why am I even doing this?
Oh,
Yeah.
Why am I listening? Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the tricky
And then
thing.
it starts,
'cause
you're like,
you-
oh, wait a
yeah.
minute.
And that's the tricky thing because all the Back in Black songs were written for Bon or written by Bon. You've
It's
heard
one of those things that every once in a while somebody comes up and they just hit the ball and it goes out of the park.
Mhm.
And you go,
you've
wow.
heard Bon's demo for "You Shook Me All Night Long."
No, I haven't.
Oh, wow.
It's out there. It's out there somewhere. I think he like did it as a demo track, but it's
Wow.
I like Brian's vocals okay, but it's Bon and that whole weird little naughty schoolboy. See, well, the fast
Yeah.
machines, you keep them out clean. The
Exactly like
AC/DC
Bob
minute,
Dylan.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, the ACD. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's hard though. I mean, when you talk about like replacing Sherlock Holmes, replacing Indiana Jones, replace it, this.
But again, can I interrupt? The
Yes.
problem with Indiana Jones is it has literally been one guy for 40 years. That's never been the case with any other character. It's only been 4 movies, but it's been 40 years he's been this one guy.
Yeah.
And that's hard to shake. And I'm not saying it's
Sure.
impossible, but I'm going to go do something else.
Yeah,
You
it
guys
is going
have
to
fun.
be. It is going to be tough, and I kind of wonder if. I mean, I will say that I wouldn't mind seeing more indie stories with another guy, but maybe it's going to take 10 years. Maybe we'll need to have some distance there. But I mean, for
Yeah.
one thing, and you talked about this, right now, all the speculation, everybody's got it wrong. It's not going to be a name. Right now, there's someone appearing as somebody's nephew in a streaming series. Who,
Right.
Sure.
It's the guy who plays the creepy colonel in Apocalypse Now, who's
Yeah.
going to get the
Right.
nod,
Yeah.
and it's going to be like, well, that guy's amazing. How come we never thought of him? You never heard of him.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I'm looking forward to Indy 5.
Mhm.
Since we're on the subject, I will
Sure.
say, I mean, my hope is it's all about the tone. Is how I see it is if they play Indy as Don Quixote, if he's going out
Oh.
on one last crusade, and it's like, and everyone's saying you're like that's one crusade too many. To me, in a sense, Henry Jones Jr. in the 1970s should be Henry Jones Sr. in the 1930s. And, we maybe will have some grad student who's like, Dr. Jones, you should stay home. No, I can still do this. His false teeth fall out or something like that. But, I mean, I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, even a bad Indiana Jones movie is better than no Indiana Jones movie. And
I'm staying silent.
yeah. Well,
Or not that silent. I guess.
how about a National Treasure movie with Nick Cage? Ooh. Did you ever see that one?
Last week too. That's.
Oh,
I kind of
Yeah.
like that one.
We were
Did
talking
you?
about that last week.
We were talking
Okay.
about
Still
that.
not seen that.
Yeah.
Everyone just lost all respect for me.
I'm going to go out on a limb with something. I don't know if any other guest has done this, but I would like to say something in an attempt to possibly scoop Professor Christy Porter.
Oh my
Whoa.
word.
Oh.
Wow.
I might end up with egg on my face or possibly skull on my face. But okay, when
Or under your face.
Oxley holds up the skull,
Mhm.
and yeah, you have that kind of like watered down, scene. It's sort of like, beginning of Raiders, but it just doesn't work. It looks like they just did it in a hurry. But you see that kind of that
Mhm.
angle and that close up. It looks like the skull of Scrooge McDuck.
Oh my God. Wow.
It looks like a Disney duck skull. It's the Mighty Undead Ducks or something like that.
Oh my God, it 100% does.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Wait, now I'm going back. I want to see.
That's
this.
awesome.
Yeah, take a look at it. It's
Yeah.
kind of this comical, like, blah, 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 blah.
Oh my gosh. That's actually
Right?
really funny.
Yeah. That's not scary. That's
No wonder they're
goofy.
freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
I
Uga are like, wait, that's what it looked like? What's the matter with us?
it's been on my mind. Just recently my wife and I drank the Kool-Aid and watched Howard the Duck. And I'd like to announce
my
that we're
gosh.
starting the Howard the Duck Minute. Much to say about that movie, but yeah, I mean, so I've had ducks on my brain. For a
Well, if that's
while.
what Christy Porter comes in with, you get $1.
You get $1.
Okay.
Well, let's.
I can use it.
Well, let's find out.
Okay.
Coming in fresh over the duck wire. This just in from Professor Christy Porter. What Christmas cookie best represents Indy in this movie? You don't get
You were
that
close.
$1.
You were close.
Yeah.
Oh well.
That's
Wow.
right
Who
over.
could have seen that coming? Whoa.
Is there an answer to this?
I think it's open ended.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What
That's what I was
Christmas
afraid of.
cookie best represents Indy in this movie?
I don't think I know any Christmas cookies.
Yeah. What? Name
Well,
a
no.
Christmas
Wait a
cookie.
minute. It could be Pfeffernuss.
Oh, what?
Oh, really? Are we gonna do this, Pete? Are we gonna do this?
We're all gonna do
literally
this.
don't
I don't know
know
what
what you're talking about.
Pfeffernuss is. What are you
Okay,
talking
wait.
about?
Are we gonna really? You're over sitting here waxing eloquent about Tikal and your Whimsy gardens, and you've never had Pfeffernuss,
I have never.
Tommy?
No. I mean, maybe I have. I didn't know what it was called.
Yeah.
Pfeffernuss?
Well, okay, Brett. Jesus, for the love of God, come on, my fellow Bon Scott mate. Pfeffernuss.
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah, what is it?
Isn't it sort of like not quite gingerbread, but isn't it sort of like, like a spicy kind of
Yes, it's like it's with powder on it.
kind of like
It's
Stollen
like, I think
or
it made,
something,
I think
It's
it
got
might even
kind of
be
a-
anise flavored. It has like
Yeah,
a
it
little
could
bit of
be
a
anise,
licorice
yeah,
anise
yeah.
flavored
Those guys.
with the
Yeah.
white powdered gingerbread.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
call
it's
them
got-
Aunt Elsie cookies or something.
Yeah, it's kind of-
I don't know what they're-
They served them
Pfeffernuss?
in Mesoamerica 4,000 years ago, Pete. What are you talking about?
I don't know if this is
Pfeffernuss.
necessarily a Christmas cookie, but I think if we're talking about Indiana Jones, to me it's Snickerdoodle. I can almost I can hear Harrison Ford. Snickerdoodle. This is where Snickerdoodle bought it.
I'm going to say this just got super weird.
Well,
and kind of perfect. Oh,
Yeah.
Snickerdoodle. You're talking about which?
I can only hope there's a Christmas
Do
cookie
these things
cutter
long
that's
enough,
in the
this is
shape
what
of a
happens.
duck skull.
Oh, yeah.
I really
making a
liked
Christmas
it.
cookie looks like a duck skull, but yeah.
Well, I'm looking at
Snickerdoodle.
right. Is that? Am I real, Pete? Pfeffernuss are small spice cookies. There's your $1, Brett. Popular as a holiday treat with Germans and ethnic Mennonites in North America. Similar cookies are made in Denmark, Netherlands as well. Cardamom, nutmeg, cinnamon, cloves, ginger, black pepper, mace, anise. There's my $1. And
Wow.
sugar, butter.
Sounds
egg
awful
flour.
when you just read the instructions.
They taste
ingredients.
horrible.
Maybe Doris will chime in. Maybe she can shed
Yeah.
some light.
Huh.
I have an
Any luck.
anecdote. Who'd like to hear a Christmas cookie anecdote?
Sure.
That's what we're doing.
Good friends of mine. They are, and this is embarrassing. Who wrote "Twas the Night Before Christmas"?
Oh, nobody knows.
That was Bon Scott.
Yeah.
I think it was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right?
Anyway, there's good friends of mine.
Rankin and Bass.
Yeah, they have this. One of their annual Christmas traditions is making these like 100-plus-year-old cookie recipes. So it's like, these would be cookies as you tasted in the 19th. So they aren't like any cookie we know. They're very quite. So they're kind of like, this one sort of tastes like
butter,
like lettuce. Yeah, butter. Yeah,
that's all anybody.
Rabbit.
Yeah.
Anybody get. It's all they cooked with 100 years ago was butter. Butter steak, butter cookies, or maybe it was like what is it? Fat.
Yeah.
This one tastes like the guy next door who didn't make it.
What a delightful beef jerky cookie. Oh, this one's special. It has a raisin in the center. Ooh, it's like
we had to walk 100 miles for that thing.
I was a good boy all year. I got a raisin.
So 19th century cookies were not quite.
This one has not having the plague in the middle.
Whitman sampler with.
This one has a piece of Abraham Lincoln's beard. Look, there's beard hair.
I'm going to be rich.
Rich. I'm going to be rich. So, Jerry, what do you think? AC/DC A to Z.
Well,
or to be the ACDZ. So like
that sounds like
A B C A D C.
I'd like to be a denizen of that Sin City.
But I don't know. Alphabetizing AC/DC songs would probably take years, so it's probably a pipe dream.
Yeah, but if the best thing about AC/DC is when you listen to it, you forget the alphabet. That's just you're like the alpha. It's so primal. I don't need letters. You're not even there yet. That's like what happens when you're 4 or 5. AC/DC's like proto letters. It's the joy of it.
Sesame Street for bullies.
It's just like exactly.
Thugs. Thug. TUGG.
Make us all happy.
All right. It's time to go to bed, everybody. I'm very sleepy, and so is everybody else. We've had a beautiful time here on the plains behind some beautiful palace that we don't get to see, where it's just a weird people's garden that tells them that things are going to die someday. But now it is time to go to bed. So, Brett, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
you. We've had a great time with you. Why don't you quickly tell people where they can find your shows? We had your buddy Josh on here a while ago, and the two of you have done a couple of excellent shows like this one.
Yeah, you did. You had him on first. No, Josh is great. We did a show called 5 Minutes of Trouble, where we talked about Big Trouble in Little China. You guys were on that show. We had another show called 5 Minutes of Bonsai, about the adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension. You guys were also on that show. We have not done much since then, though. Josh keeps talking about the A is for Atari. Speaking of alphabet-related shows, and send letters to him, to Mr. Josh Horowitz, about that, because that's $1 million idea.
Yeah,
it is.
But I'm also gonna pitch my wife Audra Wolfman show, Speakeasily versus the 80s, which
I've been on that.
You've been on that one. You've been on that one, and so you can attest what fine podcasting entertainment that is.
A fantastic amount of fun. Yeah, we talked when I was on it. We got to talk about the old Bones Brigade.
Yes, and
skateboarding, and the search for Animal Chin.
Yeah, which is like an 80s quest movie in its own right. Yeah. That's
awesome.
Check those out, and I hope to talk to you guys in a year or two for Indy 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
When Hollywood gets its act together, we'll be calling.
I have to correct myself. I kept thinking whimsy's not the right word. It's not a whimsy. It's a folly. Okay. They're follies, not whimsies.
Oh, that's a much better word. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Wow. The folly of spending probably hundreds of millions of dollars on fake busted ancient stuff. But everybody, speaking of follies, we're going to be back next week with minute 97 of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And we hope you'll join us to do that. God, I'm falling asleep at the microphone. I'm so sorry.
Living easy, living free.
Jerry wants you to know that you're good and you listen to show. You listen to show here good. Indy Jones, go. Thank you.
Wait, real quick. Brett, give us a Bon Scott yelling Jones.
Wow. Jones!
Wow.